Imagine a place that held the wisdom of the ancient world. A place where the greatest minds gathered to study mathematics, astronomy, medicine, philosophy, and history. A place built with one extraordinary ambition: to collect all human knowledge. It was called the Library of Alexandria. For centuries, it stood as the greatest center of learning on Earth, attracting scholars from across the known world. Its shelves were said to contain hundreds of thousands of scrolls, preserving ideas from civilizations separated by thousands of miles. Then, it disappeared. No photographs remain. No complete catalog survives. Not even historians can agree on exactly how it was lost. Some believe it was destroyed in a single catastrophic fire. Others argue it slowly vanished through centuries of war, political upheaval, and neglect. The truth remains one of history's greatest mysteries. But one thing is certain. Whatever happened inside Alexandria, humanity lost something impossible to replace. How many discoveries vanished forever? How many books existed nowhere else? How many ideas disappeared before they could change the world? More than 2,000 years later, the Library of Alexandria continues to capture our imagination, not simply because it was destroyed, but because we may never know everything that disappeared with it. To understand why its loss still echoes through history, we must return to the ancient city of Alexandria, where one ambitious dream sought to gather the knowledge of the entire world beneath a single roof. The story of the Library of Alexandria began with an extraordinary dream. After the conquests of Alexander the Great, the city of Alexandria became one of the most important centers of the ancient Mediterranean. When his empire was divided, Egypt came under the rule of the Ptolemaic dynasty, whose rulers believed that knowledge was a source of power. Their vision was unlike anything the world had seen. They wanted to collect every book, every scroll, and every important work of learning that existed. Messengers traveled across the known world, searching for manuscripts from Greece, Egypt, Persia, India, and beyond. Ships arriving at Alexandria's busy harbor were reportedly searched for books, which were copied by royal scribes before the originals, or in some accounts, the copies were returned to their owners. The collection grew rapidly. Scroll after scroll filled the shelves. The library became part of a larger institution known as the Mausoleum, a center dedicated to scholarship, research, and intellectual exchange. Scholars were invited to live, study, and debate together, supported by the royal court. This was more than a library. It was an ancient research institute where knowledge from different civilizations was gathered, compared, translated, and preserved for future generations. For the first time in history, humanity attempted to bring together the wisdom of the known world in one place. But collecting knowledge was only the beginning. The people who walked its halls would soon ask questions and make discoveries that changed human history forever. Inside the Library of Alexandria, knowledge was not meant to sit quietly on shelves. It was meant to be questioned. Every day, scholars from across the ancient world gathered to read, debate, translate, and discover. They came from different cultures, spoke different languages, and studied different subjects. Yet they all shared the same goal: to understand the world. Some measured the stars. Others explored mathematics, medicine, geography, philosophy, and engineering. Ancient texts were carefully translated into Greek, allowing ideas from Egypt, Mesopotamia, Persia, and other civilizations to be shared with new generations of scholars. Remarkable discoveries emerged from this environment. Eratosthenes calculated the Earth's circumference with astonishing accuracy, using little more than careful observation and geometry. Euclid organized the principles of geometry into a system that would educate students for more than 2,000 years. Doctors studied the human body. Astronomers mapped the heavens. Writers compared ancient histories, preserving stories that might otherwise have been forgotten. The Library of Alexandria became more than the greatest collection of books in the ancient world. It became the beating heart of human curiosity. But a place filled with priceless knowledge also became vulnerable. As kingdoms fought for power, and empires rose and fell, the city that protected humanity's greatest treasure found itself caught in the path of war. And soon, flames would become part of its story. In 48 BC, the ancient city of Alexandria became a battlefield. The Roman general Julius Caesar was drawn into a civil conflict in Egypt, and fierce fighting erupted throughout the city. As the struggle intensified, Caesar ordered ships in the harbor to be set ablaze, hoping to prevent them from falling into enemy hands. The flames spread. Warehouses burned. Smoke filled the skyline. Some ancient writers later claimed that the fire reached part of the Library of Alexandria, destroying countless scrolls. If those accounts are correct, an unimaginable collection of knowledge may have vanished in a single disaster. But there is a problem. The historical evidence is far from clear. Several ancient sources written closer to the event never mention the library being completely destroyed. Others, writing much later, suggest that only storage buildings containing scrolls were damaged. Historians continue to debate what really happened. Was Caesar responsible for the library's destruction? Or did the library survive, only to face new threats in the centuries that followed? The answers remain uncertain. What seems increasingly likely is that the Library of Alexandria did not disappear in a single day. Its greatest tragedy may have unfolded slowly, one generation at a time. If the Library of Alexandria survived Julius Caesar's fire, its future remained uncertain. The centuries that followed brought constant change. Empires rose and fell. Rulers came and went. Political priorities shifted. The institutions that had once supported scholarship gradually weakened, and maintaining a great center of learning became increasingly difficult. Alexandria itself experienced repeated conflicts. Civil wars, foreign invasions, and periods of unrest left their mark on the city. During the Roman and later Byzantine periods, parts of Alexandria were damaged by fighting, while changing religious and political landscapes transformed many of its ancient institutions. Some historians believe the library slowly declined as fewer scrolls were copied, scholars dispersed, and buildings fell into disrepair. Others argue that different sections of the library may have been destroyed at different times, rather than in a single catastrophic event. There is also a famous story claiming that the library was destroyed after the Arab conquest of Alexandria in the 7th century. But most modern historians regard this account with skepticism, as it appears in sources written centuries after the event, and lacks reliable contemporary evidence. The more historians study the evidence, the clearer one fact becomes. The Library of Alexandria probably did not vanish overnight. Instead, humanity's greatest collection of knowledge may have disappeared slowly, through generations of conflict, neglect, and change. But whether it burned in a single fire, or faded over centuries, the loss was immeasurable. The question now is not only how the library disappeared, it is what disappeared with it. When the Library of Alexandria disappeared, it wasn't just a building that was lost. It was a treasury of human thought. Its shelves once held works on mathematics, astronomy, medicine, philosophy, geography, engineering, literature, and history. Many of those scrolls existed nowhere else. If a single copy was destroyed, the knowledge it contained could vanish forever. No one knows exactly how many scrolls the library held. Ancient estimates vary widely, and historians continue to debate the true number. But even the most cautious estimates suggest that it was one of the largest collections of written knowledge in the ancient world. What disappeared with those scrolls? We simply don't know. There may have been lost plays by famous Greek dramatists. Historical accounts from civilizations whose voices are now silent. Scientific observations never copied elsewhere. Philosophical ideas that died with the parchment on which they were written. Some knowledge survived because copies had already spread to other libraries and cities. Much of it almost certainly did not. That uncertainty is what makes the Library of Alexandria so haunting. It reminds us that history is shaped not only by what survives, but also by everything that is lost. Yet despite the disappearance of its walls and its scrolls, the Library of Alexandria was not entirely erased. Its greatest legacy would continue to influence the world for centuries to come. The Library of Alexandria may be gone, but the search for its story has never ended. Archaeologists continue to uncover pieces of ancient Alexandria beneath the modern city, while historians compare surviving texts, inscriptions, and ancient accounts in an effort to understand what the library truly looked like, how it functioned, and what became of it. Each new discovery answers one question and raises another. Because so little physical evidence survives, much of the library's history must be reconstructed from fragments written by ancient authors. Some descriptions agree. Others contradict one another. The mystery remains as challenging today as it was centuries ago. Yet the library's greatest influence was never confined to its walls. Its vision inspired generations of scholars to preserve, organize, and share knowledge. The idea that learning should be collected, protected, and made available to others became one of civilization's most enduring ideals. In 2002, that vision found a modern symbol. The Bibliotheca Alexandrina opened near the site of the ancient library, honoring its legacy as a place dedicated to research, education, and international cooperation. It is not the ancient library reborn, but a reminder of the dream that once existed there. The scrolls may have vanished. The building may have disappeared. But the pursuit of knowledge that began in Alexandria continues. And perhaps that is the one thing no fire could ever destroy. Empires have risen and fallen. Palaces have crumbled into dust. Treasures of gold and silver have been buried, stolen, and forgotten. Yet few losses have haunted history like the disappearance of the Library of Alexandria. Not because it was the largest building, not because it was the richest, but because it represented humanity's greatest ambition: to gather the knowledge of the world, preserve it, and pass it on to future generations. We may never know exactly how many scrolls were lost. We may never discover every idea that vanished with them. Some answers were likely erased forever. But perhaps the Library of Alexandria's greatest lesson isn't about what humanity lost. It's about what humanity chose to build again. Today, libraries, universities, museums, and digital archives continue the same mission that began more than 2,000 years ago: to protect knowledge from war, from disaster, from time itself. The Library of Alexandria is no longer remembered simply as a building. It has become a symbol, a reminder that civilizations are measured not only by their monuments, but by the ideas they preserve. Because gold can be stolen, empires can collapse, even the greatest cities can disappear. But every generation has the choice to protect the knowledge it inherits, so that it will never have to be rediscovered again.